Good morning, Lucas. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Tiarna. Thank you very much for having me.
This is a really special episode for me. So normally I have my dearest friend, Suzanne Gray, beside me, but she's not here today. But this episode means a lot to me because I have the privilege of having you on the show today, who we've met 15 years ago, if you can believe it, at a very different time of our lives, living our dream in the Greek islands, working in EOS. And Lucas, you're someone who has inspired me because you've come from a background of working the 9 to 5 grind in property in Melbourne, doing what most people who are listening to the show today are doing. And you had that itch and that desire inside of you to follow your dream and your passion, and you actually did it. And that is remarkable. So I'm excited for today because we're going to delve into the story of Lucas Chesterton, the business you've launched, which is Indy Escapes, and just talk a little bit on how you came to get to the place you're in now and what that looked like for you over that journey. So, Lucas, welcome.
Thank you very much, Tiarna. Very humbling introduction.
So, have I missed anything important about your intro in terms of where you've come from?
No, I think you nailed it. I studied property at university, then had a gap year, moved to London, and the gap year lasted 5 or 6 years, a couple of summers in Greece, a winter in Sweden. Then when I got home, I started my 9 till 5. And after a couple of years, I just felt like every day that I was doing it, I was wasting a day of my life and it was too precious to throw away. So having the passion for travel, I was trying to go to every country in the background as well. I quit my job, went overseas. The rest is history.
And you've been to 130 countries, Lucas, which is unbelievable. So what does travel mean to you and how's travel shaped where you are today?
Good question. Travel to me is... it's essentially life. It's freedom, education, connection, all some of my most important values. On the daily, it's always exciting, meeting new people, exploring new places. Yeah, something that I don't think I could ever live without. So it's awesome to be able to transform my passion into something that I'm doing every day.
And you've actually done it, right? So a lot of people, like I said, are sitting there thinking about their passions and not actually taking that leap and actually pursuing their dreams and what they're passionate about. So I guess it must have been tough for you. So talk us through the beginning of your kind of journey into launching your own business and becoming a founder. What was going through your head in terms of being able to take that next step?
When I first started, I was working in property. It would have been 2013, 2014. And like I said, I wasn't happy. I was grinding, but because I spent that 5-6 years traveling, I spent like a year in Latin America as well. When I got back, people asked me a lot of questions. It was probably before Instagram. And yeah, I had this idea that I'd start like my own little travel agency. So I was booking holidays. I was like, at least I can get better deals and I can get paid for my time.
Smart.
And I did that on the side while I had to do some postgrad studies as well for the industry that I was in. Over time, the business, I was booking holidays, but I wasn't enjoying it because I was just doing admin.
Yeah.
And then some people asked, when are you going to go back to Peru? Can we come? So I took a group to Peru. Then another trip to Vegas, then Bali. Then I started doing all these trips and they got a lot of momentum and they were pretty popular. We had a lot of fun. So it went on for a couple of years, and then probably about 4 years into my corporate career, I was doing really well and had kind of my life plan. I bought a house, but I wasn't happy. And I decided to resign and go with a blank canvas and see where life takes me. I thought I'll start doing these little trips. And one of the first places we went was the Maldives. And most people see it as a honeymoon destination with the water villas. It's beautiful. But then I saw it for a lot more. I love diving. I love being in the water. I love the adventure. So there's like whale sharks, manta rays, shipwrecks, all this really cool stuff to do. And when I put that on Instagram, it kind of blew up. And people said, when you go back there, let me know. And then I said, okay, who wants to come in? If I come back in 6 months, I just put a story and there's about 100 yeses.
Wow.
And then that's when
I was
like, cool. Yeah. It is scary because that first time, you're like, what if I launch it and nobody shows up and it's just me? It's embarrassing. Yeah. Then I thought, what if you have to pay a deposit? It's 10,000 US and no one chose and you lose your money. So there was a lot of things in the back of my head I was scared of.
Yeah, of course.
But I've always been a bit of a risk taker and I kind of like the fear. So
you are a risk taker.
Yeah. So I was like, if I don't try it, I'll never know. And you only live once. So I'd rather try and do as much of what I love as I can. And that's where we are now.
I mean, it's impressive, Lucas. And I think a lot of people listening probably aren't as gutsy as you are and probably don't have that appetite to take a huge risk, but they're probably still feeling stuck and probably complacent in their jobs, like similar to what you were. So what advice would you give someone that's perhaps at that stage of their career where they're just not happy with what they're doing. They're not fulfilled. They're just not getting energy anymore. What advice would you give?
I would say that I was in the same position, and I do take some risk, but my job as a property analyst was essentially very risk adverse. So I went against everything in my body, my DNA, my education to try and do all these things. And like I said, I was still scared. I didn't know if it was going to work, but I think it's just knowing that you only have one shot. And
yeah, I love that.
I just didn't want to get to the end of my days and look back and say, oh, what if? And yeah, and I've taken many risks, like in business, in life, that I've failed as well. So I've failed, I've been rejected. There's a couple of other businesses that we've launched. So before COVID, we had Indy Escapes. So we're running adventure trips. Another fitness company, we're running fitness retreats. I just opened a gym with a few friends in Melbourne.
Nice.
And yeah, I had like a property project, and that was just before COVID. Obviously, COVID happened.
Completely changed everyone's world.
Yeah, I was 5 days away from flying back to the Maldives, and we had the whole year was sold out. The gym just launched. We had a lot of really cool things happening. And then for 2 years, I was stuck in Melbourne. I couldn't run any of the trips.
Terrifying.
And yeah, because obviously we took all the deposits for the year, and then we've paid them to all the suppliers. But then 5 days before I was flying out, I had to email everyone saying, hey, the whole year's cancelled until further notice.
Gosh.
And everybody...
How did they respond?
That night, I got a couple hundred emails saying we want refunds, refund. And because the business is just built off, we don't really do much marketing. So it's like a really cool community, and everybody trusts me, like with their holiday, with their travels and with their money. Yeah, I felt obliged. That night I thought I'll sleep on it, and I couldn't sleep. So I just woke up and I refunded everyone out of my own pocket.
Wow. So you were in debt essentially at that stage.
Yeah, I lost a lot of money.
How much money did you lose roughly?
I don't want to go
Lots,
into
okay. Lots of money.
But it was a lot, and especially when we just opened the gym.
Yeah.
And then I had my house at home. I knocked it down to build something. I was kind of fully extended, but I remember that night I was speaking to my dad, and he's like, oh, how you doing? I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like, shit happens. And then he's like, you sure? And I'm like, because I feel like a lot of the projects that we work with, say in Kenya, we work with a lot of communities where they're like living in slums off like $1 a day. There's disabled kids in like the community and the families. Some people have HIV. And I was like, how can you ever complain when you live in a developed country? We have access to resources, you have government support.
It's a really nice perspective,
so
Lucas.
Like, I feel like that's another thing where traveling's really humbled me, and give me a lot more positive perception on when things happen that are bad. I'm like, oh, it's not really so bad. It's as bad as we want to make it in our mind. So
well, look, that's, I think, a nice outlook on life. But I guess at that moment, you must have been thinking, this is it. I'm sure at one point you thought, I'm just going to throw the towel in and quit and cancel because I've lost money, I've let people down. What was going through your mind, and how did you bounce back from such a setback at that time?
It was pretty crazy because I didn't know what was happening. We didn't know how long it would go. And then I'd been out of the industry in property for probably 5 or 6 years. So I just applied for any jobs I could online, and I've saved all the jobs. I was applying for jobs, even packing boxes in factories and just anything, because I was like fully exposed. And then I got a job back in property, and I pursued that for a little bit longer. And every day that I was doing it, I didn't enjoy it, but I was like, I'm trying to learn something new, and this is the opportunity I have. So you can only play the cards that you're dealt.
Yeah, very
so
true.
There's no point stressing about things I can't change. But every day I was like, I can't wait till the borders open. I'm going to do it again.
You had your eyes set on the prize still, even through all that kind of disappointment and setback. You were still driven.
Pretty much, I hated that much with all my heart that I was like, I'll never have another job for the rest of my life.
Yeah, wow.
And so now I've tried to be a little bit more cautious in taking risks, I suppose, post-COVID, because even during it, there was maybe 5 or 6 times where they said the borders were opening.
Yes. Yeah, I remember I was stuck in Amsterdam and couldn't get home to families. It was awful.
Yeah, well, we tried in Melbourne. We were locked down pretty much 2 years. We couldn't even go to Sydney.
It was one of the most severe lockdowns, wasn't it, in Melbourne?
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But then every time I tried to launch something, I'd get some momentum and would sell out a trip, and it might be an internal one in Australia, and then lockdown again. So it was time after time after time after time. When we finally could, it was a really slow and steady start.
Yeah.
So just one trip, and then a couple of months, and then another trip. So I feel like, a lot of people will look at me and go, oh, you're very lucky. And I'm
like, I was just about to say, I would describe you as resilient and also perhaps a bit of luck in there, right? What would you say to that?
Well, I think you make your own luck.
Yeah.
Because I could have thrown my hands up, and when people like see my lifestyle and they're just like, oh, you're in the Maldives or Africa doing all this cool stuff.
You live in the dream on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram, but it's a lot of like blood, sweat and tears that went in the background to get to that point.
I can imagine.
So it's awesome to be here, but I actually had a friend who's very dear to me. He, especially during COVID, he was kind of like a rock, and I'd have all these really insightful conversations, and he's like, just stick to a 5-year plan. He's like, don't make a 1-year plan because it's not long enough.
Yeah, I like
don't make
that.
a
So his
10-year
advice
plan.
was keep it more short in terms of timelines.
Yeah, it was like 10 years, so many things change.
Yep.
1 and 2 years, it's not long enough. But so it's essentially been 5 years since COVID. So I was like, every day, I'm like just working, saving, setting up the shots. And then since then, yeah, it's kind of that 5 years, and I'm at where I wanted to be 5 years ago. So
yeah, that's great.
when people, like I said, say, oh, you're lucky, it's like, it's not luck. It just, like I had...
You actually had a plan and you've stuck to it.
Yeah, it's just like being consistent.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like anyone can do this. Like I had no training or education in travel. I just was very passionate about it.
That's remarkable, Lucas, because a lot of people listening are probably thinking that you've got a degree in business and a bachelor and an understanding how to grow and scale businesses. But in truth be told, how much experience did you have in launching your own business when you first started?
I'd grown up around businesses and always been naturally curious.
Yeah.
And then at university, I studied property, so some business elements, but not really. I feel like the main things with Indy, I suppose, that it wasn't about trying to build a business. It was just, I did something I love and I tried to add more value to every person that come. So that's probably like 30 and 40% now. They're just existing customers.
That's great.
So they'll do one
really
trip,
good feedback for
and then
reputation.
they'll do one trip, fall in love, and it's awesome because we might have one Kenya trip, and there's people from like Zanzibar, Maldives, Sri Lanka on there, and they're all talking about different trips that they've done, and then you see them catching up outside. So
you're building a real community, aren't you? Which is really, I think, in the world that we live in today, there's a lot of disconnect, and there's a lot of people that just don't have community or belonging. So it's that kind of, it feels like what the trips that you're creating create purpose, and it's really a community, international community now. People have got friends all around the world. I know my trip that I did with you in the Maldives, I'm still in touch with all those people, and they'll be friends for life, which is just remarkable and exciting.
Yeah, no, it is. And I feel like it's a really, really cool little niche that we're in, because it's, I feel like when you're 18 to 25, you do your backpacking.
Yep.
I'm not interested in babysitting, so we don't really want backpackers. It's probably once you've graduated backpacking, it's like you're that young professional crowd, like similar to us. It's like late 20s to 40-ish. You're in your 30s. A lot of your friends, they're either got really stressful jobs, they can't get time off, they got mortgages, they're married with kids. So your friends that you want to go and travel with, you can't. And that's when, as well, I was kind of in that stage where I was like, I'm going to go travel here, and my friends wouldn't come. So I was like, oh, I'll just go and make my own ones. And then now, all our trips, it's probably 80% solo travelers. Okay. And they all fit in that demographic. So it's, a nice community of people that are like-minded like me. Like I was in that position where I couldn't find people
it's
to
very
travel,
relatable, actually. You're targeting a large group of people that are looking for that in their kind of adventures. But Lucas, tell me, because you've been, again, to emphasize, 130 countries, you've met so many interesting people. Is there anyone or any particular moment that stands out to you that was pivotal in changing the way that, or the course of where you are now in the business?
Good question. I think there's too many. I feel like there's, every day, every week, I have moments like, there's even like community projects here. So we've been in Bali the last 3-4 months. Here I have these amazing conversations with the guys that I'm doing some stuff with here. And they inspire me, they change my perception. I know in Greece, when we first met, I was loving the job, but I think we got 20 or 30 euro per day for working.
15 euro per day we were making.
So it was just enough to get rent, buy a kebab, and then a couple of drinks. But then when I was talking to the owner of the water sports where I worked one day, and he's like, oh, yeah, I was like that 20 or 30 years ago. He was in his 50s. And he's like, yeah, I was like that. And he's like, I just saved up one summer and I bought a couple of windsurfs. And the next one I come back and I was teaching windsurfing. And then the summer after I buy another windsurf. Then the one after I built a shack. And then it made me realise that you can't just click your fingers.
Yeah, it's a process, it sounds like.
Yeah, a gradual process. But as well, it's like, I know, take a risk and back yourself. And if, you believe in what you're doing, other people will as well.
It's inspiring, Lucas, because I think we speak to people, especially within my industry, where I'm speaking to people daily that are feeling trapped, they're feeling stuck. And to take that leap is always the hardest part, is just to pull yourself out of your comfort zone and to take that risk. But it sounds like your travel's really shaped you and you've met so many amazing, wonderful people. I guess, how would you describe what travel's done for you as a person?
Yeah, I don't think I can even explain it.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, I was always destined to go and study property and work in it. That's similar. I have a great relationship with my dad. That's what he did. He was my role model. He had his own business, so I would have gone into that. And I felt like the epicenter of the world was the northern suburbs of Melbourne. Is where I lived and grew up, and all my mates were there. My first overseas trip I didn't travel till I was maybe 22.
Okay.
We finished uni and then did a Southeast Asia trip. And then I felt like after that I was going to go home, start my career and buy a house. Yeah, I just fell in love with everything, just the freedom, the people, the culture, the food, the adventure. I just felt alive.
It does have that impact, doesn't it, travel? It really just opens up your kind of creativity and your energy towards understanding there is life outside of Melbourne, right? There's a whole world out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like even what's happening around the world, whether it's like the culture, geography, politics, religion, all of this, the more that I meet people and connect, you understand why people are the way they are. Even like I was like that in Melbourne because I lived in this little bubble. So I feel like even this having those conversations and meeting new people,
it's really powerful.
Give me a lot more empathy.
Yeah. So Indy, you launched the business on your own. So you've been running this business on your own for nearly 10 years now, and you're stepping into a whole new chapter of Indy Escape, and you're actually going to start to look to grow and scale the business. So I guess, what are you looking for you've just hired someone recently. So perhaps we can kind of go into a little bit in terms of this next chapter of Indy. What does it look like for you? And when you are looking to bring people in, what type of people are you looking to hire?
Good question. I was actually always against hiring staff because now we can outsource and do temporary contracts and get amazing results. So that's how I've scaled to this point. But then I think even 12 months ago, I was on another podcast and I was saying that, no, I didn't want to scale. I'm like, I love all my trips. I love all the people that come on.
Classic control freak, let's call it. Would you say you're a control freak?
No, I like my freedom as well. And the bigger you grow, the more admin. So I was like, no, all the trips sell out. I do amazing places. I have all these incredible guests. So, and I was like, even if I scaled and sold it, I'd call up and say, can I have my job back? Because like I'd miss it. So I felt like I've kind of, designed my dream life and I'm in it. But then some of the people I've been sort of connecting with over the last 12 months, I've been meeting their teams and to see how excited and how much growth they have with their team, like on personal levels, and then how much their team and the leaders adore each other. They have each other's back. I was like, oh, this would be cool. And then, so I bit the bullet and just put on our first full-time indie staff.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was, like I said, very, very against it. But then, I have an incredible friend that's actually joined the team. He's worked with us in the Maldives for nearly 10 years now. And when the opportunity come up, he was blinding at my heels. He was very, very excited to join the crew. And I felt like when I was looking for somebody, especially, I needed like a Lucas number 2 or like someone that had identical kind of values and problem-solving skills. That was the main thing. I feel like there's a lot of things that you can teach, you can outsource.
Yeah, so true.
Like our web designer, graphic designer, marketing, everything we can, like legals, accountants, I just outsource everything. But then to have someone that's like essentially a professional problem solver where I can just delegate and say, hey, you have the resources and the knowledge. That's probably the biggest thing. So
what were the skill sets you were looking for in this hire? Like what was really important to you that Eamon must have? Or was it more open? What was it?
No, it was, the first thing is, I feel like I said, you can train people to do anything. Like you can go to the gym. If you're overweight, you go to the gym, you lose weight. If you want to learn, just study more. But the first thing was probably loyalty. So I know even in the Maldives, we've been going back and forth for a long time, but he's helped so much to grow and scale. And my guest, he comes on a lot of trips and the guests like him more than me as well. So I feel like it's like natural progression as well.
Yeah, you're replacing with someone bigger and better.
And then I've seen him on the ground, how he handles situations. And like I said, the problem solving skills, it's like I don't want someone that knows all the answers and has all the skills. I just want them to know how to find the answers and where to get them.
I think that's really important actually, because when you're often looking for people to build your business, there's often a set of skills that they must have, or university degree, or you must have a qualification in X, Y, and Z. But actually, it's just about attitude sometimes, isn't it? And having the right attitude. And I think you said curiosity, which is so important, because you're right, you can teach almost anything these days. We've got so many resources, ChatGPT, you've got YouTube, you can learn how to do anything. But that mindset and that attitude, I would assume, fundamental in building the culture as well with Indy. How would you describe the culture of the business?
I love it. When I started it, every year I do this goal setting exercise for myself. I write down my values and I try and realign with them. Just keeps me focused. Then I write like my mission, like goals for the year, relationships, like the kind of relationships I'm looking for, like if it's business, personal. And when I was really doing a big rebrand of Indy just before COVID, I tried to align all of these with Indy. So it's essentially an extension of the stuff that I love and that I'm passionate about. I feel like that's probably like the biggest thing. like for me was doing that, and then even when I'm going to put someone on, was that they align with all these things as well.
It's a really good framework actually, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because that will transpire onto your guests, which will then continue to build and scale your business, won't it? Which is really, I love that so much. It's a great framework. I'm going to adopt that. What keeps you up at night, Lucas? You've got someone hired now. You are now responsible for somebody else's livelihood. So that's a lot of responsibility and pressure. What keeps you up at night?
I try not to stress about things that I can't control. So if there's things that I can, I'll put my heart and soul into trying to make something happen. I'll do my best to give myself to maximize the opportunity, I suppose. But yeah, if there's things that I can't change, I try not to stress about things. I just try and let them go.
And how do you, because that's a very strong mindset. So what's your daily rituals look like, and what's your daily routine look like to get yourself to be so calm, cool, collected? Because Lucas, you are very measured, you're collective, you're very much a structured person, I would say. But what's your daily rituals look like to get you there? In
an ideal world, when I'm not traveling, it's very hard when I've got group after group. Like for example, in the Maldives, early next year, we've got like about 11 groups back to back to back without days off.
Wow.
In October, we'll be in Egypt, gorilla trekking, Kenya safari, Zanzibar, like for a month. So sometimes I have no routine. You're just on the go. But the last couple of months in Bali, it's been nice working by correspondence and getting grounded, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'll try and wake up early. I'll meditate for a little bit in the morning, go to gym, yoga, Pilates. I'll do some kind of exercise, have a healthy meal. And then I try and get my work done after that. I'll spend a couple of hours, have a break, get back to work. I don't really drink. I try and eat healthy foods.
Is that a conscious decision?
Yeah. Might be once a fortnight. I'll go and have like a beer or two, but if I drink to enjoy like the actual drink or the company. So I've changed. There's been a few lifestyle things. I know when I worked in Greece 15 years ago.
Very different lifestyle, but you were at a different age and different time of your life then, as we all were. It's interesting how your perception of things changes as you start to get older, and it is just tough, isn't it? I mean, waking up with a hangover, it's not something I enjoy anymore. It just clouds your thoughts, and I think it stops your creativity and your ambitions.
Yeah, I just don't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, anything I don't enjoy, like I said, I just choose not to do.
Smart.
And I feel like when I am eating healthy and, I don't know, staying hydrated, meditating, doing all the right things, even sleeping well, because it's hard when I'm traveling, because even last year I flew through like 20 different time zones. And even now
20 different time zones.
Yeah, even
how do you manage the jet lag?
I hadn't, so that's why I just had a couple of months.
Did you feel like you were burning out at some point?
A little bit, like not from the work, but from
traveling,
changing the sleep pattern so often. It was pretty big burden. And all of my friends laugh because I have a ritual in the evenings, about it.
I've seen this ritual.
I put on my sleep mask, I put earplugs in, I have a retainer because I had Invisalign. So I have my...
The poor girl that has to sleep next to you, Lucas.
So, I had Eamon sleeping next to me the other night, our Maldivian friend that's come over and started working.
Was he shocked to see you with your face mask on, your earplugs in, and your mouthpiece?
Yeah, I have like little routines like that.
But those little routines help give you that structure when you don't have structure, right? So it's just I think we talked about this on a podcast recently about what you do in the beginning of the day, and it sounds ridiculous, but I get up and I make my bed. If I don't make my bed, my whole day's off piece, because it's just one thing I do every day, and I try and do it. And you can make your bed anywhere. So it's just your face masks and your earplugs is your kind of meditation and ritual.
I think that's when I'm shutting off to the world.
I like it.
Yeah.
So if you were to look back, Lucas, at your 18-year-old self, because we do get a few listeners that are from 18 to, say, late 30s, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Just don't doubt yourself. I feel like we all have limiting beliefs. We're all scared, have fear of rejection, or we're scared of failing. So I feel like just try. You got nothing to lose. If you don't try, you'll never know. So that's something that I really try and practice. I put myself out there, and even there's sometimes I feel like you need to be sacred with your time. So I try not to waste my time, but there's opportunities or situations where I think, will it be fun? Will it not? I'll just do it anyway. And I feel like now with my perception, I can make any situation fun. I can see something positive or beneficial from it.
That's a great mindset to have, Lucas.
Yeah, but I think one thing, you shouldn't have any regrets, because like I said, if I can't change something, I'll just let it go. So there's things that I've done where I've made a bucket load of mistakes, have, like I said, been rejected or lost things and made the wrong decision. The only things I really regret is if I've probably treated someone poorly or been unconscious of how I may have hurt someone. But on taking risk and doing things, you can't change it. So I feel like you just have to let it go.
But what drives you, Lucas? Because that's all good and well to say, but what's that, like, where does your drive come from?
I think when I did all my yearly goal setting and my values, so just when I actually took the time out, because I feel like all of us, we know what we like doing, but it's like, how much do you actually know yourself? So when I actually took the time out and reflected, and it was like a long journey, but when I come up with like my values, when it's like contribution, connection, development, health and exploration, they're my main things. And I focus on these things, that's what gives me fulfillment. So it's like actually identifying and connecting with these values and going, this is the things that I love and the reasons why that I love them. Everything I do in my life, every decision I make, I try and base around them.
It's a great framework, really great framework. I love it. And so 10 years from now, Indy's going to be in a very different place, because currently now, what countries are you currently touring with Indy Escapes?
We do Maldives, Sri Lanka, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Egypt, Romania, Bali.
We have a fitness retreat coming up in 2 weeks in Bali, don't you?
Yes, yep.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. So what are you going to be most proud of 10 years from now with Indy Escapes? What's the legacy you want to leave?
I think we're already leaving it. Like, I got a message the other day from a friend. She's been on a number of trips and she's actually coming on the Egypt trip again in September. But she sent me a beautiful message just saying, I love the friendships that I've made, and probably similar to me, a lot of my friends are married, in kids, in jobs, so you can't travel. She said she loves all the connections that she made. She's going to Egypt, and afterwards there's a group of them going to the Greek islands.
Wow, yeah,
So they all met in Sri Lanka, so they're doing that together afterwards. And then there's a couple of girls on a Kenya trip the year before that she met, and they live in Athens, they're Greek. So she's like, oh, when I'm there, I get to catch up with them. On the way over, I'm stopping over in Malaysia. I'm seeing like another girl.
You're
that lives in
creating a
Malaysia,
global network of basically people that can connect internationally and have places to stay for free everywhere.
Yeah, and my favourite, like all my guests, I love them. They're literally like friends that I'd catch up with. Like if I was anywhere in the world, there's no one that I wouldn't have a beer or have dinner or a coffee with. So I feel like, connecting all these people together, it's, really humbling. It's, really beautiful.
I love that, Lucas. So let's see. So where is the future of Indy? Where are you launching next? What destinations?
Next year, so we're going to add Vietnam and Japan.
Nice.
So they've been, we're getting a lot of demand for them. So
yeah, I can imagine. And predominantly Australians, or people from where?
No, we get probably a third Australia, a third from North America, then a third from Western Europe.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
So, and then we get like a sprinkle of others. So in Bali, we've got Colombian, Thai, Australian, American,
super
British.
diverse.
So it's a little bit of everything. Yeah, so we'll start there. Then in 2027, we're looking at Mexico, Guatemala, Peru, so in the Americas.
Wow. Yeah. Because I guess their destinations as well, going back to your point, is as a solo traveller, a lot of people are quite scared to go to Latin America because obviously perception. I mean, I travelled South America and it was quite daunting initially, but it was very safe. So are you specifically choosing those destinations from where? Is it from research or?
Yeah, it's research and the activities where people feel safe going. So even like in Africa, for example, there's 54 countries.
Wow.
We go to East Africa because I feel like for me, it's got the most diversity. You can do safari, you can go to Zanzibar, you can do the gorillas all in one little patch. I've also done the gorillas in Congo. I love Congo.
What was that
beautiful.
like?
It was very, very intense.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, and I've wanted to go for a long, long time. So, when you're younger, I grew up watching David Attenborough documentaries, Okavango Delta, Masai Mara, Serengeti. It's all beautiful. But then afterwards, there'd be like a dark and ominous advertisement. It's like the Congo. Yeah. Like thick rivers, lush jungles. Like it's very, very, it was always like a bit ominous. So I finished a gorilla trekking trip in Rwanda with Indy. And then I found online that I connected with a guy and he said he could get me a visa if I do gorilla trekking again in the Congo, the DRC. Okay. So I booked it. I got the visa within 48 hours. He picked me up at the border. And then it was like I spent 3 days with him as a local guide because you can't really do it on your own there. I can imagine. But there's times we're walking through the jungle and there's like 5 army, 5 rangers, like 5 security guards, all with like AK. Like it was pretty intense.
Wow, that is intense.
And since then, that area that I was in, the last couple of months, it just got taken over by rebels.
Okay.
So there's places like that where people are like, oh, cool, I'd love to go. And I'm like, I'd never take a group to these places. And I feel like the indie places are a bit more mainstream, like Kenya and Zanzibar or Egypt. I do get demand for these more obscure places. And I'd even been like North Korea.
Wow.
And Socotra in Yemen. There's like a lot of very obscure
What was
places.
North Korea like?
It was very interesting. This was probably 10 or 12 years ago, so my lifestyle was a little bit different. I just did a China trip, and then to go, you could leave from Dandong in northern China.
Yep.
And I did a 5-day trip. It has to be with an organised tour. You can't go there on your own and just backpack around.
Yeah.
And I was very interested. I love history, culture, and geopolitics. So we went there, and I thought it'd be very somber, I suppose. I was like interested in the history, but it turned out to be kind of like a karaoke bender. It was weird because we did a lot of really...
so unexpected.
Yeah, we did a lot of really cool stuff during the day.
Yeah.
But then in the evenings, the crew that we're with, there wasn't much else to do in the evenings because they lock you in a building and you can't leave. So you can't go around town.
You can't actually move around, yeah.
And everywhere has a karaoke place downstairs. And you're with all these really cool people from all over the world. There's like a Mexican family that I was like in love with. Yeah, another Australian guy that was running it. There's people from China, people from the Philippines, Switzerland, and we're all like, locked in this underground, karaoke room.
That's crazy.
And then, we'd have soju or sake and then, drink. And so every night we're just like singing karaoke. So in the day, it was interesting. We did learn a lot about the history. But then the evenings, it was really, really fun. They even opened a theme park. We went out for dinner one night and the guide organised, he's like, hey, I can get this theme park opened up.
Wow, just for you to visit.
It was bizarre. So we went there like 20 or 30 intoxicated tourists and went on all these like crazy rides. It was a really, really bizarre experience.
So what would you tell someone, Lucas, that's perhaps never travelled a lot, because you've travelled quite a lot, so you've seen lots of places, you've visited lots of people. What advice would you give someone that's perhaps going on, say, their first off the beaten track trip?
Just do it. Don't doubt yourself. I feel like there's enough information, research, and go on YouTube. Obviously look at all the government websites. I can't advise not to do that. But then also I think can be a little bit over the top. But I feel like there's enough information online to be able to make safe, informed decisions. There's like so many incredible blogs. One of my friends has a blog, The Broke Backpacker. I think it's one of the biggest.
The Broke Backpacker.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest travel blogs in the world.
Yeah, great.
I used it when I was younger, but even now, like I don't stay in hostels. I'll get a nice room with an ensuite, but the information on there is
nothing better than a good hostel experience, though.
Yeah,
everyone has to do it once.
Yeah, that was amazing when I was 18 to 25.
You're not in that time of your life now.
But on this website, that's just one of many. Yeah, they have so much incredible information.
That's cool.
That you can find exactly what you're looking for, any location. But I do know though, so a lot of my guests, probably 70-80% of Indy guests, and we didn't mean to do this at the start, but it's probably solo female travelers.
Yeah.
We emphasize on safety. So I think that really aligns with what they're looking for. But when I went to places like Iran or Iraq and they're like, oh, is it safe? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like the people are lovely. I had like incredible experiences. They're like, oh, what about for a female traveller? And I grew up with all brothers. And
because it is different.
All of our brothers just had friends that were guys. So we're a bit more gruff.
Yeah.
And I didn't probably appreciate that even in Australia or Bali, if you're walking home at night and it's a dark alleyway, like for a guy, we don't even think twice.
It's something you're consciously aware of as a female. You're always looking left or right. You're always having to be a little bit more on guard, I think, perhaps. So, that's interesting. Yeah,
and I was probably a little bit naive in that respect because we just grew up in such a masculine house. I'd say you can go everywhere, but at the same time, sometimes there's cultural differences. It depends what you want to go for, if it's to go and see nature or if you want to go and party. There's so many different things, but I'd say there's heaps of places that you can choose that are easy, even like Bali, Thailand, Maldives, like they're
And your
easy
trips,
for reasons.
Lucas, because in terms of duration, what's the average days for your tours that you run?
We do 7 nights.
Fine, okay. So people that are working
some are
can
6,
take a week
some are
off.
8. Yeah, but just generally because our demographics, young professionals, they've got corporate jobs, careers, they can't get that much time off. But we try and back the trips up so they're back to back to back. So if someone does Kenya, but they want to do the Gorillas or Zanzibar, they can connect those trips. The day that one finishes, the next one starts.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
Same Sri Lanka, Maldives are similar.
Well, Lucas, your story is really inspiring, as I said at the beginning. I think you're someone that's taken a risk. You've followed your dreams and your passions, which a lot of people often just go around in their head thinking about and don't actually do. But there's obviously been some roadblocks and some hurdles along the way. It hasn't always been smooth sailing, easy. And I think it's refreshing because for a lot of us in our day-to-day jobs, we're constantly faced with the thought of what next? Should I be here? Should I be doing something different? And I think you're a true testament to putting yourself out of your comfort zone and actually, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like it's not the place for you and you're not actually getting fire inside, just to go and do it, you know. So thank you for sharing your story and for doing everything that you do for communities around the world that you travel with, and for also opening up people's heart to the world of travel, because I'm a massive advocate for traveling, and I think travel's changed my life, and I wouldn't be here without travel. So I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for travel, and wouldn't be running my business and connecting with people the way I am able to do so across international environments, because I have that ability to interact with people from different countries and cultures. So thank you, Lucas, for being here. It's been really nice to see and hear your story.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tiarna. I was actually just thinking as well, in addition to what you just said, and you even asked what travel is to me, and I always say it on all of my trips, that like, it doesn't matter if it's your first time overseas, if you've been to every country, if you love adventure or a party trip, or you want to do a yoga retreat. Every single person, every individual adds something different to each trip.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing about traveling. You can't be good, you can't be bad at it. It's just whatever you want to get out of the trip.
So true, because in our job you can excel and be the most smartest person in the room because you're exceptional at public speaking or you're really good at maths, whereas everyone can be a good traveller. Yeah. So it's actually the one consistency that we can all have is travelling, and you can do it in any shape or form, on any budget, at any time of your life. I hope we're still travelling when we're in our 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
We will be. We have a tradition on this show, Lucas, before we close, and I would like to ask you, what is your favourite quote and why?
My favourite quote would be, happiness is only true when shared. Have you seen Into the Wild?
I haven't, but I'm going to have to now.
Alexander Supertramp.
Perfect.
So he quit his job. They wrote a book, made a movie about it. It's a really beautiful movie with a sad ending. He quits his job, travels through North America, has all these really unique experiences by himself, and then sets off into the forest in, I think it was Alaska.
Okay.
Alaska, Canada. I need to refresh my memory. But when he's out there, he ends up staying somewhere where the river floods and he couldn't get back. And he had to stay for the winter, and he ends up passing away. And in this bus, it's a really interesting story, but when they found him, they engraved something, and his quote was, happiness is only true when shared.
Oh, I love that.
And I felt like it was sad that he had to go to those extremes to find out. And I resonated with that as well. When I first started traveling solo, one of my first trips after doing maybe a month or two with my brother and my best friend in Europe, I flew to Poland. I was watching this beautiful sunset and I was like, this is so cool. And then I looked over to share it with someone and there's nobody.
Yeah, it's lonely.
So I feel like it's a balance of things between just doing it, because some life doesn't wait for anyone. So you need to go out and experience it. And I'm so happy I went to get that sunset. But then that's what I was trying to create with Indy, is having it so you can share those moments with people as well.
Yeah,
so
special.
Happiness is only true when shared.
I love that, and that's very fitting for you and very fitting for what you do. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you so much for being on the show. It was awesome.
Thanks so much, Tiarna.